Hello student, in this video we will learn about the soil and water pollution, chapter 6 from your environmental education for class 10 students. Contents: type of pollutants, air pollution, sources of pollution, effects and measures to reduce air pollution, water pollution, sources of pollution, effects and measures to control or reduce water pollution. Before we go into detail, let us try to differentiate between pollutants and pollution. Pollutants are those agents or substances that cause pollution, whereas pollution, it refers to an undesirable change caused by the pollutant in the physical, chemical, and biological characteristic of air, water, and land that adversely affects human life and other living organisms or species on this earth. See the various activities of humans which have introduced or created pollutants to pollute our environment. Types of pollutant in our atmosphere. Based on chemical composition, we have organic and inorganic pollutants. Organic pollutants occurs naturally and contain carbon as one of the elements, example hydrocarbon. Inorganic pollutant result of some human interaction or doing. It shows property of inorganic compounds, example carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and so on. Based on matter, on state of matter, we have gaseous pollutant. Gaseous pollutants refers to those pollutants which are in the form of a gas at room temperature, example carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide, and so on. Particulate matters. It is the sum of all solid and liquid particles suspended in air, many of which are hazardous. This includes both organic and inorganic particles such as dust, pollen, soot, smoke, and liquid droplets. These particles vary greatly in size, composition, and origins. Air pollution. It may be defined as any atmospheric condition in which certain substances are present in such concentration that they can produce undesirable effects on man and his environment. Sources of air pollution. We have two: natural sources and man-made sources or activities. Natural sources example are dust storm, volcanic eruptions, pollen grains, and forest fire. Human or man-made activities, domestic pollution, vehicular pollution, and industrial pollution. Effects of air pollution. On man, it causes skin cancer, chemical sensitivity, respiratory problem, depression, asbestosis. Asbestosis refers to the lungs disease which are caused by the inhalations of asbestos particles. On vegetation, it causes a number of diseases like chlorosis. Chlorosis, it refers to yellowing of the leaf or loss of the normal green coloration of leaves of plants. Necrosis, it refers to the cell injury results in premature death of cells in living organisms. Epinesty, it refers to a condition in which an organ as a leaf turns downward because of rapid growth of the upper layers of cell. Number 3, it also deteriorates building materials, causes acid rain, global warming, climate change, extinction of animal species. Some steps to control or reduce air pollution are adopting large-scale plantation, establish industries after proper environment impact assessment studies, substitute aerosol and chlorofluorocarbon by the application of safe alternative, periodic monitoring and testing of industrial pollution, fit pollution control devices in automobiles, enforce the existing laws strictly in controlling air pollution. So these are some of the steps that we have to follow in order to control the air pollution. Before we go into the next topic, let us have a brief look at the water cycle or the hydrological cycle. Water from the surface of ocean, lakes, seas or rivers evaporates and rises up into the atmosphere. Similarly, transpiration of water by plants and animals also takes place. Water vapor on rising up becomes cold and heavy and condensed into liquid water. They fall down on earth and water bodies in the form of precipitation or rain, hailstone or snow. Once on the earth's surface, water flows into streams and lakes and eventually to the bigger water bodies, that is ocean. Some water percolates down the soil and from the groundwater. Thus the cycle of the water is completed. So if we say it, the water cycle or the hydrological cycle plays a very important role in providing us pure water or fresh water to sustain all the living organisms on this earth. So it is very important to check all the activities that disturb the hydrological or the water cycles. Water pollution. Mixing different solid, liquid or gaseous substances and microorganisms into water to alter its natural qualities is known as water pollution. Sources of pollution. Number 1, sewage and domestic waste. Pollutants are bodily waste, washing water, food preparation waste, laundry waste, and so on. Agricultural discharges. Pollutants are agricultural residues, animal husbandry, excess salts from applied irrigation water, fertilizers, pesticides, and so on. Industrial effluents. Pollutants may be organic or inorganic substances like pharmaceutical residue, dyes, and heavy metals. Toxic metals. These are metals or metal compounds that negatively affect the health of living organisms. Examples are arsenic, mercury, cadmium, magnesium, iron, and so on. Detergents. Pollutants are phosphide, silicate, and sulfide of sodium. Fertilizers. The excess nutrients from fertilizers leach into surface and groundwater, causing algal bloom and nitrate contamination, which have an impact on the drinking water and also on the ecology of marine and aquatic life. Thermal pollutants. Major cause of thermal pollution is the use of water as a coolant by power plants and industrial manufacturers. Next, siltation. It is a process by which water becomes dirty as a result of fine mineral particles in water, which caused problem to the aquatic organisms. And oil spill. It refers to the release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment, especially the marine ecosystem. Effects of water pollution. Sewage and domestic waste increase the growth of bacteria, viruses, and protozoa, causing chronic disease in man and animals. Industrial effluents cause damage to our kidney, liver, brain, and lungs. Fertilizers increases the process of eutrophication, that is the growth of algae. Toxic Nitrates enter the bloodstream and react with the hemoglobin, which may cause damage to the respiratory and vascular system. Thermal pollutants increased biological oxygen demand, reduced dissolved oxygen, and increased in the growth of algae. Radioactive pollutants in water weakens the biological immune system. It may also cause stomatic and genetic disorder and blood abnormalities in higher animals and humans. Treatment or steps to control water pollution. First, minimize the use of non-degradable pesticides. Reduce the temperature of wastewater before discharging it to water bodies. 3. Proper enactment of laws by government. So these are some important steps that we have to tackle it in order to control water pollution. With this, we will end up our chapter. Thank you, students.